why don't you begin so we can get going on this?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor. I'm Paul Deegan. I'm an Assistant Chief Investigator in Brookhaven Attorney's Office.
Paul, can you speak closer to the mic?
Sure. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Paul Deegan. I am the Assistant Chief Investigator in the Town Attorney's Office, commonly known as the Law Department. Last time we came before the board in June of 2013, I believe the supervisor met with a group of concerned homeowners in the Stony Brook Setauket area in reference to the illegal housing issue that they had. At that time, we had presented 51 properties that our office, through our investigations, had in district court and in the Supreme Court. During that time, I'd like to give a quick update, and this board will reflect the activity that we did during that time. We had 51 properties that we had district court cases on and 3 in Supreme Court. Of those 51 properties, 39 of those properties pled guilty and were brought into compliance. Basically what happened, they went through the court process, they pled guilty, they received fines, they got conditional discharges, which were court orders, and then they obtained building permits and had a series of inspections. Numerous properties had failed the inspections and then finally came into compliance. 39 of those properties came into compliance right out of the 51 right away. 3 of those properties currently have pled guilty with conditional discharges and are still in the pending compliance status. 5 of this group were issued more appearance tickets because of their failure to comply. 2 are still pending court actions for some of the actions that had been held up for variances or such not, and 1 of those actions is pending under further investigation after the court case. As far as our current status that we have as of December 2013, not including what was reflected on the board, we have over 180 new appearance tickets that Law Department investigators had issued to new properties. 36 new properties we have in district court from on top of the ones that we had in June.
So in addition to what has been issued in the past, currently you've issued another 180 new appearance tickets.
That is correct, Supervisor.
Okay.
That is correct. Due to your directive and the town board's directive of...
and just so the audience is not under any... isn't confused about the subject we're talking about. What we're talking about is single-family homes in the Stony Brook area that have been converted, according to our contention, illegally, into illegal rooming houses. And the law allows the rental of a house, right now, we're operating under that premise, to no more than 4 unrelated people. So we're talking about houses that are rented to 6, 7, 8 people, houses where rooms sometimes, not in all cases, but in some cases, are created illegally, no plans are filed, interior locks are done, and other things that would violate our code take place. These are the types of appearance tickets that may be issued.
Yes, we're talking about only those housing type complaints issued. I'm not talking about if we had issued somebody an appearance ticket, just a litter summons. I'm specifically talking about these houses that were converted into illegal boarding houses and illegal multifamily houses, as you directed. Currently, out of that group, we have 36 new properties since the last update that we have in district court, the 180 appearance tickets. We have 30 new homes under investigation that are currently under investigation right now. We also had, since the time you were we last gave the presentation to you, we had 26 properties that were brought into compliance without the need for appearance tickets through notification and investigation. Those homes may have had a garage conversion, an owner-occupied garage conversion that we may get compliance on in the building department by taking out building permits and having the right inspections.
Now, of course, when we issue tickets to people, everyone's entitled to their day in court. Everyone's entitled to appeal. Many of these homes, as I understand it, the landlords that have converted them in what appears to be a violation of our code have done so to cater to students that are looking for places to live that attend nearby State University at Stony Brook. And most of these houses, as the map will demonstrate, are either in the Setauket or Stony Brook areas. That more or less correct?
Yes, and they're primarily, as you can see by the chart, they're huddled completely around the university in a lot of the walkable communities and some of the very near driving communities. What's not listed are the properties that surround it that we had appearance tickets, say, in Center Reach or Port Jeff Station, because we're active all over the town issuing appearance tickets, not just in the Stony Brook, Setauket area. We are very active in Port Jeff Station, Middle Island, Mastic, Shirley, Patchogue, Gordon Heights, Bellport. I mean, we've been actively meeting with all those groups and trying to continue enforcement town-wide. The issues change a little bit, but illegal housing is the focus. That's all we look at is the illegal housing. We don't look at the occupants or what status or anything like that.
Supervisor, if I may just interject here with
This is David Moran of our town attorney's office.
my apologies for being late. I was in fact picking a jury on a housing case in the Second Council District. The judge just released me at just about 10 to 5. I just want the court, I'm in jury mode, the town board to understand that this enforcement effort has been town-wide. And credit has to be given to the housing inspectors from community development, as well as the building department inspectors, waste management, who have been, despite the town's focus on going after the housing issue, it's been a lot of these other departments that in communication with the law department, that have created an uptick in enforcement town-wide. Despite setting a record last year in levied and collected fines, we are certainly on pace to trump those numbers this year. Working with different groups, that being, we met with the Suffolk County Attorney's Office in reference to their health department, trying to elicit help from every agency that could add anything to our ability to enforce. We do have an agreement with the Suffolk County Health Department wherein we're going to do a couple test cases. We're going to forward information and share information with them, and hopefully, lead to stricter enforcement. And the idea here is to get compliance on these structures any way possible. And
So that means no interior changes without a permit.
that is correct.
That means no more than 4 unrelated people in a home,
That is correct, Supervisor.
unless they're living as a family.
Or the town's definition as a functional equivalent of a family.
Right.
But in some of these other cases, in some of the notorious properties, which I won't mention by name, we allege 16 bedrooms. Health Department has approved it for 6. There's thousands of dollars in fines a day that can be levied by the Health Department, which is an untapped resource in our fight to go after these houses in an attempt to bring them into compliance.
Well, in this particular area, I'm sure the residents are working very closely with their county legislator, Kara Hahn, who has indicated she would help on these matters to ensure that the health department that has issued COs based on a number of bedrooms, and then those bedrooms change dramatically, and where they can levy fines on a daily basis, that they're doing so. I would hope so, and I would trust Legislator Kara Hahn is working with the health department to ensure that happens.
Supervisor, I will tell you that myself and Assistant Chief Deegan here, we did go down to the legislator's office. We did have a meeting there along with the Suffolk County Police Department, and we had a couple subsequent meetings off of that meeting with both the police and the Suffolk County Health Department to facilitate, as I said earlier, gaining access to every tool in our arsenal in order to bring about proper compliance, including notifying LIBOR, the Long Island Board of Realtors, as to our code and what's a proper rental, working with the District Attorney's Office in reference to possible STAR violations on non-owner occupied structures that may be collecting STAR, as well as forwarding and working along with the District Attorney's Office in reference to possibilities where landlords may or may not be paying all the tax requirements on their cash business in most circumstances. Paul did a very diligent job, and I thank him for his help with putting this presentation together. But just to go over a couple other matters, we do have 3 matters currently pending in Supreme Court, as well as the District Court, and as well as internally in front of our Board of Zoning Appeals. For the first time since I can remember, the Chief Building Inspector, in fact, revoked a rental registration for a property located at 150 Christian, which is now on appeal to the Board of Zoning Appeals. We also have that property pending in Supreme Court as well as District Court. We're attempting to combat this issue, again, leaving no stone unturned, and using and even in some circumstances, creating new tools to combat this problem, again, townwide.
Yeah, Mr. Supervisor, I just want to, first of all, I want to thank you, Mr. Supervisor, for helping, encourage both the law department and the building department in particular to start working a little more carefully and closely together, and rather than at odds, as we had experienced in the past. I also want to thank definitely both Paul Deegan and David Rand themselves individually as having great leadership in their in the law department and making certain that these investigations continue to prove fruitful to the community, that we're going to preserve our quality of life in Stony Brook in particular, Stony Brook and also Setauket area. I know that they're working and they have to work town-wide on this matter. We've also, over the years, I've been a councilman 10 years, I knew often Mastic and other places in Quorum and throughout the town, often Holbrook suffered with, various illegal housing situations. So I know those things, they continue, those investigations in the law department continue town-wide. So I want to thank them that even while this is a growing problem in the Stony Brook region, they're also still working just as hard throughout the other regions of our township. I'm grateful for their time that they've given to me as well when we've met with either the concerned Stony Brook homeowners or even just your representatives from the Setauket Stony Brook Civic over the last couple of years. I'm a little concerned. I know even while this group, the Stony Brook concerned homeowners, have done a great job in their own vigilance in the community in monitoring, whether it be realtors or trying to reach out to prospective students that may be wanting to rent, that they're aware. They help pass along the knowledge of what our current town code says, and I'm thankful for them and their involvement in this process, because I think that's proven just as fruitful, if not more so, than all the work that you guys have been doing, both with issuing tickets and having to go to court. I'm a little concerned, and I heard Paul say there's like an additional 30, you mentioned something about additional 30 houses that are under new investigation?
There's 36 new properties that we have currently now in District Court on top of what we brought in.
Gotcha.
And then there's another 30 homes
On top
that
of
we
that.
have under investigation. And we've done that through the supervisor's office, through your office, through the town board, deputy town supervisor, through the group of Stony Brook concerned homeowners. That group has been communicating with us very well. It's worked great, communicating through the building department like we did. And I would like to say that even though I'm making the presentation, it's the investigators in my office that provided all this data for me, gave me countless hours away from their families. Those are the ones that really deserve the credit for this, not me. All I did is put things to paper and organize it a bit. Those investigators are the ones that day in and day out go in every single council district and try to do their best to make sure that that elected official feels like they get what they deserve for their constituents. So I would definitely like to say that, and I'd like to thank you, Mr. Supervisor, and the entire town board for giving the town attorney's office and the law department, specifically its investigators, the tools to be able to do the job. Because in every council district, no matter which district it is, we've always gotten a tremendous amount of support in every single one from the council people and their aides, and we thank you for that. That's how we can do our jobs.
I did want to ask you a question, and my hat's off to all the law investigators in the law department. I'm singling you two out just because you're kind of the leaders of what we used to call the Quality of Life Task Force. But my question is that it seems to me, and what I'm hearing from the Stony Brook concerned homeowners, what I'm hearing from the constituents that are living obviously in the M&S section throughout the Stony Brook area, that even while they're successful at beating back certain things, and I know we've even seen some homes that have actually gone up that used to be homes that had a number of students living in them,
Many
for
for sale.
that have gone up for sale. we are, well, in a sense, we're kind of beating it back in some cases, and in some other cases, it's morphing and changing. What is your sense in terms of the, is it continuing to be kind of a growing problem or a shifting problem? I mean, what do you see here?
Well, what's going to happen when you do any type of concerted enforcement is there's always going to be a contingent of people out there looking for new ways. And of course, that's going to pop up here and there. And again, we look for other ways, whether it's through code amendments that we present to this board or using other agencies to combat those other problems. I will tell you, for the first time, a coalition of landlords has surfaced who met with the town in an attempt to understand our laws and to see how they can comply. Where those conversations and efforts go, we shall see, but it is a dialogue. Also, the university has been a help in attempting and in communicating and in updating their websites with only valid rentals.
With proper COs.
They've helped us. But in response to your question, that's always going to happen anytime, but again, it's going to be our job to stay ever vigilant with the help of the community and the council offices to see where and when these places arise. We can't be everywhere. We need our eyes and ears on the street. We need the neighbors' participation. We need the council aides to stay, ever vigilant with the complaints that come into their office and make sure we get it as soon as possible. On top of all of this, which is a success, there's a number of cases that that you can't document on paper where we stopped at the start. That through a construction process or we get a complaint they're adding all this wood went into a house on a Saturday, so we show up on a Saturday and stop the conversion of a dining room into 3 more bedrooms.
Yeah, refer to that as the Saturday night special.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's up to us to stay ever vigilant, and as these new issues pop up and people think they find loopholes in our current laws as we present them and as we change our codes, that's going to happen. But again, specifically the Stony Brook Concerned Citizens Association has been very helpful in identifying properties, some rightfully and some, we ran out and just to find someone putting in a wood floor in their owner-occupied home. But again...
But I think that's an education process that you've been helping with as well.
And again, so we will stay focused and ever vigilant on the issue.
Great. Well, thank you.
Thank you again, and as you know, we are committed to sending a very strong message with the resources that we have to ensure that this proliferation, which didn't happen overnight, that this proliferation is stopped and reversed. And I can tell you as supervisor, and fortunate enough to say I won't be here for the next 2 years, I will work diligently to ensure that that is the case, and will give you whatever support we can to make sure that this job is done. Thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Supervisor.
Mr. Supervisor.
Also, under reports to the board.